You do the intro then, bro. I don't know about you, Tom, but your mic is really loud on coming through on mine. It's that loud. Josh is coming through loud on yours as well. Your mic is coming through really loud, almost a bit down a bit more, a little bit more. I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's coming through your mic or not. It sounds really loud. It's not like the usual quality. That's the one. Ah, I see. Just gonna add a couple of things in. How's this gonna work between how long till we get Can you hear me now? How long till we take? Oh,
You have your chat, don't you?
I need to find out how you do that actually.
There we go. Lovely, right?
Yeah,
So,
because Josh has it on his, doesn't he? So
Yeah, I need to figure out how to do it. I watched the tutorial, but I wasn't happy with how it turned out on my screen. But
what's that?
the chat,
you have it on your live stream, don't you? Like actually.
Oh, yeah, it's because I use Streamlabs. It's a lot easier to use with the widgets. There is a way to do it on OBS, but I use Streamlabs OBS. So,
Oh, Josh is live now.
yeah, I'm live now. Yeah, I just podcast wise, I just chill.
Just go with the flow.
It's when I'm doing like when I actually record videos and stuff, then I'll do like what's going on? No, but
Proper YouTube intro.
well, yeah. Except after every Leeds game, it's more like now then, let's get this over with. I'm gonna text the missus to bring me a beverage.
yes, people, welcome to the Shoestring Budget Podcast. I'm joined as ever by my co-host Tom, and as you can see, I've got Josh here from Leeds Lounge. And big up to everyone on Leeds Lounge that has tuned into Josh's channel and is watching along with us. I hope everybody's okay. How you doing, guys?
Yeah, good man.
I'm good. I'm good.
Good.
Thank you.
Good, 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 good. We've got a lot to discuss, I think, gents.
Yeah, it's been an eventful Monday.
Especially from a Leeds point of view.
Yeah.
Really.
Well, that's
We couldn't
always.
have chosen a better day.
There's always a lot to talk about when it comes to Leeds. Like I think it was Gary Neville said, they're not boring at least. So you know.
No, that's very true. That's very true. So obviously, if you haven't heard the breaking news today, certainly from our end, Jesse Marsh has been sacked as manager of Leeds United Football Club, and he's been going to be replaced. I can't remember the guy's name. He was actually our assistant last year under Ralph Ragnick. He was one of the coaches under Ralph Ragnick last year.
Yeah, he's only doing a couple of games. He's not gonna be our go-to. I don't think. There's been a few things up in the air. I think they're looking at like Corbran's really high on the list, which I'd be over the moon about. But we'll get into that in a minute.
Yeah, not a worry, not a worry. And of course, there's also obviously we're going to go through what we're going to think, what we think is going to happen, and also obviously the Manchester City news that broke today. It affects pretty much every club in the Premier League. Absolutely insane what's going on the blue side of Manchester. But I think there's only one place we can start talking about Leeds. Jesse Marsh, man. I mean, what's gone on? What's happened? Last time we spoke, you were.
It's highly positive because it was after the Liverpool win, wasn't it? You know,
exactly, it was. Straight after the Liverpool game.
It was. Obviously, he just to say kept us up, and I say he. In fact, to be fair, I've had numerous conversations with a lot of Leeds fans, and in my kind of humble opinion, kind of looking at it all, like from now that he's out, it was. I mean, it was seriously, it was Rafinha that kept us up. It was really nothing to do with Jesse, because then as soon as the season started, and obviously it was rumoured that we was to sell him, he chucks him in for long balls and moves him out of that striker role, even though he was our best player, hands down, no holds barred. So we were all like, kind of whatever and all that. A couple of good signings in the summer, some results here. You got. I think it was mainly like a lot of Leeds fans were kind of like, yeah, but who comes in, and let's give it until the January window. And we were all kind of waiting for that January window, because Leeds traditionally don't do very well transfer window wise. They don't spend a lot of money, and then January hits, and Jesus, like the players we got in. Now I know that a few of them aren't very well known, but from what I've seen so far, they've been cracking signings. Very par for Leeds. It's not like anything crazy like signing bloody Messi or anybody like that. But for what we need them for, to have those, because we're building from Bielsa's small squad. That's essentially what Jesse was doing. Is he didn't want a small squad because he knew that injuries is what nearly cost us the league. Nearly cost us relegation last season. So that was a positive thing. But he talks so well, does Jesse? He talks so well of, this is what I'm going to do and this is what we need to work on. You're like, yes, Jesse. And then the next game comes and it's like, but where's that? You've not implemented anything. And then, cut a long story short, yesterday was just the last straw. The changes that he made, as much as I wanted those players to come on, the tactics weren't changed. He just changed the player. And it's not that, Bamford was knackered. Yes, he'd missed a couple of chances and whatever, but there was no tactical change. And this narrow system that he plays, and saying, oh, I know we need to play with more width and that's what we're going to work on. And then 3 games later, you sat there going, where's the width? You play with a slight bit of width in that game yesterday against Forest, and we're doing them 4 or 5. With the players that we've got, easy 4 or 5-0, just without.
I don't think like American managers can fully understand the English game of football. It's a lot different in America.
Yeah, I mean.
Anywhere, any other country really, it's not the same.
Yeah, no, I get that, and I don't blame it solely on him being American, because at the end of the day, one of our best signings we've had this season is American. Tyler Adams is an absolute monster. He's great.
No, I'm not saying.
I know what you were saying. I think they do. I think he's clearly struggled, but what baffles me is if you take teams like, I'm not going to say the big 6, because that's kind of that. I mean, this season that changes more than I changed my socks at the minute. So bar sort of your top 3. So that's exciting to watch. But like, you don't play the same tactics every game. You know what team. That's why managers go to watch. Sean Dyche. We've got Everton in a few weeks. Sean Dyche was at our game yesterday. He's got Forest coming up. He's got us coming up. He's there. What tactics can we do? How can I change it? You know what I mean? Jesse goes to Accrington Stanley. No offence, mate, but it's Accrington Stanley. I wouldn't stress too much about it. But it doesn't change anything. It's just the same copy and paste, and it works. That narrow play works against your bigger teams because they play fairly sort of similar. It's like press and counter, press and counter, press and counter. Whereas when you're playing this lower division, this like bottom half table, they don't play like that. They solid defensively, and they play for the break, which against Leeds, they know they're going to get because we're so high forward. We play like a big six team, but we don't defend like one, and that's why we lose games.
So that's what I'm really looking forward to be honest, as a Manchester United fan. I'm really excited to see you come to Old Trafford and maybe play a high line. I don't know if it's going to happen now under this new guy, if it's going to be like, anything's going to change, or if you're going to sit back and defend. But I do like that about Leeds, obviously, because
Leeds will never sit back and defend. They'll never do that.
I'm happy with that, to be honest. I'm really excited.
Of course you are, because you'll put four past us.
I love it. I'm excited. We might see some goals finally.
I think, to be fair, I agree with that. I think we'll get onto predictions in a minute, but yeah, Leeds will never sit back and defend, but you can always guarantee that it'll be an entertaining game.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to it. I just want to say as well, big up to everybody in the comments. Pete, Asif, Phil, thank you for joining in and commenting. They've got lots going on in the comment section. Pete's put here, the latest one I've seen is Weston McKennie is a hell of a signing for Leeds. I mean, I could not believe when I saw that deal, let alone being proposed, but being put together. And
the first thing I did when that was like rumoured was just like YouTube Weston McKennie Juventus, and I was watching what he was doing against these top class teams, like different style of play but similar sort of challenge to the Premier League. You got the same sort of quality of players. It's a difficult league, and I'm just watching some of the stuff that he's doing, and I'm just kind of sat there going, "There's no way, no way." As soon as the likes of Chelsea, Arsenal, even City, you know what City are like. We don't need him, but buy him anyway.
Well, that's coming back to bite him.
I know, right? We'll be having Calvin Phillips back on a free. Thank you very much.
That's just ridiculous. I mean, I was talking about Calvin Phillips
all day, every day.
Yeah.
I was talking about Calvin Phillips last night, and I'm like, why have they even signed him? He barely gets any game time.
I'll tell you exactly why. My brother-in-law and my father-in-law. Obviously, anybody from the Leeds Lounge that's seen videos on my channel and that's watched the Chelsea vlog that I did is now reaching 1,000 views on that, which is crazy. And they joined us on that. We've been talking a lot about it, and it was like they bought Phillips so nobody else could. That's basically what they did. They could see that Phillips was a quality player, and at Leeds he was. He's not now because he doesn't get game time. Simple as.
Has he even played started a game for Man City since signing?
Well, I was convinced that that Pep would play some kind of mind games and play him against Leeds, and he didn't. And I thought
Phillips was for sure starter.
Well,
he's a great player.
I mean, why spend 50 million on a player that you're not going to play? Yeah. And like you said, it's coming back to bite him in the arse. So
it's so that they can start off like the Calvin Phillips Banking Society, so that they can make another sponsorship with the Calvin Phillips finance office and get more money into the club. I mean, look, have you seen the ridiculousness that Man City have done? They've got a PO box in London, and they're saying, oh, we're getting sponsored by this PO box for like 600 million a year, and this is how they're getting away with all the FFP nonsense, and they're signing players like Calvin Phillips, good English talent. He could walk into any of the top 6 teams. I mean, even at Manchester United, I would happily have him next to Casemiro. Yeah. I think he was a really quality player.
I mean, I think it's safe to say never would he have signed for Man U for obvious reasons. But I get what you're saying. He could have done. He could have gone Arsenal. Could have gone Chelsea, Tottenham. Yourselves, City, any of those tops. And then even
Arsenal's a great fit for Calvin Phillips.
I think it would be, to be fair, especially playing alongside Ben White as well, because Ben White played for Leeds. They had a great chemistry when Ben White played for Leeds, and obviously when White played for Leeds, nobody had heard of him. He'd never played in the Championship before, and then you take it 3 years later, and he's a starter and a heavy influence at Arsenal. I mean, that was all Bielsa. That was identifying the talent, getting him to where he needs to be, and then moving him on, which is a shame. So that's what Leeds need to establish now. Leeds need to They need to keep their ass up in the Premier League this season, as hard as that's going to be.
Yeah, I was going to say, how likely do you think that's going to be?
I think now Marsh is gone, I'm a lot more optimistic about it. With Marsh still in, we were all asking for him to go, but it was a case of when they were going to do it, and I didn't want it to be a case of, well, it's too bloody late now. Whereas with still pretty much half the season left to go, even if, and I know we'll get into it in a minute, but just quickly saying, even if as a Leeds fan I write these next 2 games off, with the points remaining in the teams that we've got, if we get someone like Corbyn in, who has proven himself to be able to take whatever he's got. I mean, he took Huddersfield for what they were bottom of the league and took them to the finals of the playoffs in the same season that they were bottom. Same with West Brom, they were sitting 22nd or something like that. And then they, and now they're like in the top 6, exactly the same season. 13 games swing, that's all it took him. Bang. From the bottom to the top, and now they don't have to worry about relegation. There's no way. And then Corbyn leaves Huddersfield. Where are they now? They're right back at the bottom. So he clearly has that influence to be able to take that. And no offence to West Brom or Huddersfield, but he comes into this Leeds team now, which, in my opinion, when you look at it on paper, is the strongest Leeds team that we've had in 20 years.
Yeah,
for talent. I mean, you get that kind of Beelzebub style, but without the stubbornness of Bielsa, which is what Corbyn has. I think, not necessarily this season, but I think he'll be able to keep us up. And next season, not quite like Newcastle have, but I reckon next season might possibly would be the season where we'd go into it going, we don't have to worry about relegation. We're going to be beating, your Bournemouth, obviously if they stay up, which is unlikely. Beating your Evertons, your West Hams, and and all that kind of stuff. Not saying that they're worse teams, but what I'm saying is they're teams that we should be taking points from, or we have a ability to do so. It's all well and good taking points from Chelsea and Liverpool, but not then when you drop points to Southampton and Villa.
Notts Forest.
And Notts Forest. So,
I mean, I watched the highlights of that Nottingham Forest game, and to be honest, because I always like to watch the teams that we're going to be playing against, I didn't think you played that badly. Based on the highlights I saw.
The first half was amazing.
Live.
Yeah, I thought they were pretty decent.
Second half, they thinking a bit, but the first half they were pretty decent.
The only difference between Leeds and Nottingham Forest was their what's his name, the keeper, new keeper, Kaylin Navas. I mean, he's a world class.
What a wanker! Sorry.
Ex-Real Madrid.
He was quality though. You can't honestly, even as a Leeds fan, you know what I mean. Our 3 biggest chances, and he pulls off like as soon as Bamford and Sinisterra and Nonto hit that ball, I'm just like 1-0. Hey, he saved it. All right, fair enough. All right, 1-0, and I'm there going 1-0. 1-0, then Strout, set piece, and I'm just like...
Strange move though, isn't it? Like Navas to Nottingham Forest. Who would have ever seen that?
Weird.
But I suppose...
We tried signing him, if you remember, a few years back. We tried getting him in place
to
of
Nottingham Forest.
Would you argue that players of that quality can go to any team without concern? Because say for example, he went to that team, Forest got relegated. There'll be other, there'll be other teams that would be interested in him. I understand if they did get relegated, that means that they've conceded goals, which means that then obviously he's not had a brilliant season. Or they could essentially get relegated based on the fact that they just keep drawing everything 0-0. So I think...
Well, he's got to be their second choice keeper, though, because they've got Dean Henderson.
Yeah. He's first choice, I'm sorry.
Dean Henderson's the first choice keeper. Honestly, I reckon Dean Henderson will not stay at Nottingham Forest if he's going to be benched.
Well, Pete's just put in the comments, Henderson won't be getting back and is number 1 at Forest.
Imagine that. The irony. Oh, man, that'd be... To be honest, I'd love that in a way, because Dean Henderson's annoyed me, but still. Fair play, though. I must admit, I was shocked. And I thought, watching you play, I think you guys create chances, and, You know, obviously
It's the
for us,
finishing. It's the finishing
it's the
product
finishing.
that hasn't been there.
It's kind of like United, to be fair.
Pretty much the same position that we're in. To be totally honest,
It,
we're
it
winning
is
games.
really, it is really, because I mean, but yeah, but the difference is that you're still getting them wins there. Like,
We've got Rashford.
well, yeah,
And
I mean,
also,
obviously
I mean,
that man's
our
on
defence-
form.
Yeah.
Our defense this year has been absolutely insane. We've actually conceded quite a few goals. If you look at the table, like if you look at our goals against in the table, but I think
Stupid goals and from set pieces.
Exactly, it's silly goals.
Not much from open play.
No,
It's
very
do you know
simple
what?
things.
Again, very similar to us. I think we're top. We're top in at least we're top in the Premier League for something for conceding the most set pieces. But it's always been an issue with us because obviously we're just constantly waiting for that counter. Now, don't get me wrong, and you know there may be a few people in my chat, in your chat, that will disagree, but I can quite confidently say we go 1-0 up yesterday. We'd have brayed them 4-0. We'd have done them 4-0.
Based on what I saw, I think you were much better.
There's not much difference in Leeds and Man United because as soon as we score one goal, we
go
carry
wild.
Against a team like that, I reckon we score first there. It's 2-0 before half time. The game's done anyway because then now Forest are chasing it because it meant that we would have gone above them on goal difference. And I know that they've got a tough couple of games coming up. You know, they've gone 6 games now unbeaten. Well, a team like Forest, that ain't gonna last at all. Obviously, you know, Newcastle are flying. What is it, like 18 games unbeaten now or something stupid?
It's crazy.
You got to give full respect up to Newcastle this season because they have. I mean, the games that I've watched as well, and I sit there and I go, we were lucky to get a draw the way that they're playing, and I'm like, that's a solid point. That is.
Yeah, they dropped points against West Ham on the weekend. They didn't play too well there.
No, they didn't. But then what I'm getting at is they're still getting that draw. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
so it's like they're
point,
still making the point. You know, it's like the points that I think we've dropped something like 20 points from winning positions this season. You stick 15 points on what we've got now. We're above Liverpool. And don't have to worry about relegation.
That's just crazy.
I mean, to be fair, give it a couple of weeks, Forest will be above them, and that'll be hilarious. So,
Liverpool and Man City getting relegated.
In the same season.
Man City getting sent back to League Two for being knobheads and spending all the money that they don't have.
I would honestly, that would be the best. That would be the best.
Here we go. For my chat, here we go. Predictions: City gets sent down to League Two. Guardiola comes to us. There we go. Bosh.
Ooh, wow.
Optimistic.
Prodigy of Bielsa there. He's just
If
like.
that happens, imagine the scenes if that happens.
I tell you something, it'd be worth just sticking a $5 on just in case, innit? You know what I mean? You'd be a millionaire.
You can't be the betting office, lad. I'll give you odds of 1,000,000 to 1, right?
I'll give you-
You give me a $5. I'm happy with that.
Have you seen that guy on TikTok? He's brilliant. What do you want to put on? Get lost. Get lost.
Yeah.
He wants a blackout at the Liverpool game. Blackout. It's brilliant. So funny.
Crazy.
What you got that?
Liverpool-
Leeds to beat Liverpool 2-1. Come on, be real.
Imagine if Man City actually do get relegated, though.
I mean, That is
in
a
all
story
honesty,
and a
is
half.
that an actual possibility from this?
that's one of the things is expulsion from the Premier League, yeah.
But how far down do we reckon they'd go?
They'd go. Right. Let's. It's just weird that you're talking. Let's be completely honest. There is no way that such an established team like City. No, there's two actually. I'm going to contradict myself here. I think no way will they do that. However, there might be made an example of. Stranger things have happened.
What you have to look at, and I probably will do a live stream about this tomorrow once I've actually managed to get more facts down. Because at the moment there's about 100 charges. Now, if 70 of them or 60 of them they're found guilty on, you can't just slap a fine on them.
You can't just go, we're going to give you I get
a 5-point deduction. You have got, if it was one charge, I'd understand, or even 5 charges, I could make an argument for. But when you're talking 50, 60, 70 plus, you've got to be made the biggest example of.
Yeah.
And whether that's a relegation, whether that's a massive point deduction, and I'm talking 30, 40 points, they've got to be made an example of, haven't they, really? I mean, yeah, Pete's made a great point here in the comments. He's put Rangers got dropped down 3 leagues in Scotland because of FFP. Like, Phil's gone with 30-point penalty.
I think as well, I was looking at some of the stats earlier on, and over those years, 3 of those years they won the league. So you take that into account, that, like, I'm not saying if they hadn't spent that money would they have won the league, but essentially, yeah, that is what I'm saying, is if they hadn't been able to get away with spending that much money to get those kind of players in.
I reckon they should have the title stripped. They should give one of them to Ollie for finishing second that season, so Ollie can get his trophy.
I've just seen a tweet. It says, if Man City get a 15-point deduction like Juventus, they will still be ahead of Chelsea and Liverpool.
Wow. Asses put here, we are winning the treble. Sir Alex Ferguson, Jose and Ollie. Imagine the scenes. And as well, Assis made me laugh. He's put, Pep will join Arsenal as Arteta's assistant. I like that. And Phil's put here, the players have lost confidence in Klopp. Obviously, we were talking about Liverpool as well briefly before. Do you not think it's weird? I mean, obviously, this is going to affect... I suppose it'll affect Leeds more than Manchester United this season, Liverpool. Isn't it mad how... Yeah,
because I'm thinking we could get another 3 out of them now.
I reckon so. I mean,
and I never would have thought that ever. That I'd be looking at the likes of like Chelsea and Liverpool and going, right, we've dropped points to Forest, but we'll pick them up against them.
Easy scalps. But like, I'm looking at their managers at the moment and the way that they're reacting to their situation. They've completely lost the plot. Even Pep yesterday moaning about this journey to Liverpool, to London, being 4 hours and it's too long, and I'm like, what is going on with some of these managers? They have really lost the plot this year, and yet we've got the coolest manager in the world who's just absorbing everything. He's had Mason Greenwood to deal with recently. He's had the Casemiro red card, and he's had a change of ownership potentially, and he's just been as cool as a cucumber.
He's doing exactly what a manager should do, though, sacking all that off and worrying about the games.
Exactly.
Which is why, you know, I can sit here and say, I've always said to you, you know, Leeds and Man United have obviously got a very rough history, but in my personal opinion, I just love football, and if teams are playing good football, that's all that really matters to me. Now, don't get me wrong, if I'm in the street and a Man United fan gets a bit gobby, he'll be told. Politely, and then not so politely. No, I'm joking. I ain't like them fans that were scrapping. I'm just like, what's kicking off at the end of the game going to do? It ain't going to change the result, is it, at the end of the day? Look, Man United are a quality team. They always have been, you know, regardless of whether they've dipped in form at the beginning of this season, whatever. They've always, you know, for all the time Leeds have been out of the Premier League, you've got to hold your hands up, is that Man United have been absolutely conquering football.
I think especially now this season compared to the last couple of seasons.
100%. They're completely on the way back up. But me personally, I would much prefer... I would love to stay in the Premier League and in a couple of years' time be still doing this with you guys and seeing maybe... This is what I'd really look forward to. Seeing a slight nervousness to Man United fans when they come to play Leeds. And I think if we get the right manager in and build, and don't worry about, you know, just stay up, stay your mid-table, gel the team, you know, signings will come in and out and this and that and the other, and just establish you as a team. Don't worry about everything around you. I think that's the issue here, is that Jesse came out, I think this was when he really started losing a lot of people, is he put out a tweet to say, I concentrate on the culture and the vibes of the team, and I hate that I have to rely on results. And I'm just like, bro, that's literally your only job, is to look at the results and why you're not getting them. So, you know, it's one of them things. But I would love that, I'd like to go. I mean, I will put my hands up. I am going on Sunday, so, and I am really looking forward to it. As much as I think we're going to get a kick in, it is at Ellen Road. Now, I know that Man United have some passionate fans, but nobody
Yeah.
nobody will ever sit there and say that going to Leeds is an easy game, because it isn't. It's one
No,
of the
to be honest,
hardest places to play.
that is something I will give Leeds credit for, even when they're in the Championship. The amount of Leeds fans, even on my timeline before even starting this channel with Tom, I saw so many Leeds fans, and you were playing away at Stoke or other, you know, nonsense teams,
It's the
and
only
the
benefit if we
passion
go
behind
down.
it.
I can go to the Stoke away games because it's only
You
down the
can.
road.
There you go. You can go to
See,
Stoke.
it's just looking at the positives at the end of the day.
If we get relegated, I can go to more games.
If we
I mean,
get
that's
if we
one way of
get
looking
if
at
we
it.
get relegated, I'll be able to get tickets easier for the Leeds game, because all these frigging I hate to say it, but especially like there's so many people that have now come out the woodwork as Leeds fans, and I'm just like, even people that I've bumped into like on my Facebook and stuff, like, come on Leeds, and I'm just like, you don't even like football, shut your mouth. And if they get relegated, I'll be just like, oh, did you watch the game? They're like, oh, I didn't know we were playing. There is no we. If you haven't watched the game, there is no we, is there? So, but, you know, at the end of the day, the Leeds song for the proper Leeds fans rings true and true. You know, at least until the world stops going round. That's where my heart lies. If Leeds go down, I'll support them just as much as I did when they were in the Premier League. But I do genuinely think that if we go down, we come straight back up. That might be a wild take, again, with the right manager, but then with the right manager, we won't go down. So it's just a waiting game now to see what we get in.
What is the table looking like for you guys? Whereabouts are you?
So we're now 17th, I think. Bear me a sec. We're 17th, but I'm pretty sure we're on the same points as pretty much everybody below us.
You're 17th. You're on the same points as Everton, which is 18.
Yeah.
And Bournemouth, Southampton, who are 17 and 15 points.
So essentially, what it is, it's a shame. I say this, it's a shame, and I suppose you'll want transition to this in a minute anyway. But it's up to you. It's a shame that our 2 games in hand are against you. I'll just come right out and say that, really, because ideally I would have preferred to have 2 games in hand, one against Southampton and one against Bournemouth. Personally, if we'd have got them 3 points yesterday, like we should have done, I wouldn't have cared too much about these next games. But now I'm sat here in these next games going, you know, we really have to try and get summer. Now, going to Old Trafford, amazing venue, never been myself.
It is amazing.
It's a tough place for anybody to play at, especially, and I will say especially Leeds. It'll be, and then vice versa when you guys come to Ellen Road next Sunday. I mean, the Man United, you will not be able to hear the Man United fans, because Leeds will be well up for it, and that's what I want them to do. I don't mind if we go out and lose to you guys. I really honestly don't, because I expect to. But if we go out and we lose 4-3, I'll be like buzzing, just because the game's been immense, and that's what you expect from like Man United and Leeds back in the day. That's what you got. It was like high intensity, just really entertaining to watch, and you don't mind losing games like that. You know, it was like the Tottenham game that we lost, when we lost that 4-3. I'm pissed off we lost that, because we were 3-2 up with like 2 minutes. It was like 5 minutes left to go. So that's frustrating, but that's all I want to do. Just go out and just give them a game, because
it's the ones that you expect to win that do your head in a bit more in it. When you play
the
teams
thing
that
is that
a lot lower.
yeah, the games we've taken points from this season are the games I thought we'd lose. So I'm strangely optimistic about these next 2 games, because it's total Leeds fashion to draw at Trafford and win at Ellen Road. Not saying that's going to happen, but it would be typically Leeds to do that. Take 4 points from you guys when we were like, we're going to drop, you know, they're going to get 6 and we're going to get none from this. So it's just, it's hard to predict, because you don't know what's going to happen, but you can assume what's going to happen. From a Leeds point of view, you can assume, you can go, write these next 2 games off, and then push Everton, Southampton and that afterwards, and focus on them.
Well, as is put here, you might need to bring Mark Viduka back from retirement, Josh. This is Eric Ten Hag's United. Now, I mean, the revival that we've been on this year is unreal. When we last spoke, we were doing well, but like not as well as we have obviously are now. We weren't in a position that we are in now as well. So I'm really excited to see what happens in this game. It's going to be really exciting to see a vibrant Leeds attack against such well-organised defence this year with Lissandro
100%.
Martinez and Varane. Wan-Bissaka, maybe Dallo might be coming back into the game, Luke Shaw. I'm just really excited to see how they play against our defence.
I'm
Maybe
just.
us missing Casemiro might be.
To be fair, that's solid for us. That is like
Yeah.
when I saw that he got that red, I was like, fucking good.
Missing both games. What right? From a I know I can ask you this because I know you won't be I know you won't be biased. What did you make of that red card? And I don't know if you've seen the subsequent angles. What was it in your opinion? And be completely honest.
I think.
I don't know if you've seen the subsequent angles, by the way. I've kind of just chucked that at you, but
I haven't seen the subsequent, and all I've seen is the highlights. And from what they showed on the highlights, and I'm like, red, get off the pitch.
yeah, I was exactly the same during the watch.
Now,
seeing the other angles.
now I've seen the photos from the other angles of like where the contact was about to be made, and I've gone.
Yellow card.
It's one of them. And again, as football fans, we all know that VAR is shocking, and it can be beneficial in a way where you go, I'll take that, thank you very much, or it can be like, are you like take yesterday for example, cross ball across, Forest were offside, 3 of their players were offside. But then again, Strouk didn't need to do what he did because Harrison was behind him. So as he flicked that ball up, Harrison would have got it anyway. So it wasn't like they were on an attack. They were only just to say in our half. Now, if they'd have been, right near the corner flag, then yeah, give him a bit of a nudge because they're going to get a corner or a free kick. So it's kind of 6 and 2 3s really. But he didn't need to do what he did. But again, that's Jesse playing our guys out of position. And as much as I think last time I was talking about Firpo and I was like, get him sold. Well, in all honesty, seeing him in the last few games, yes, defensively, he's pretty diabolical. But what he offers going forward is so much more than Strouk. And we've constantly been saying, like, in the transfer windows, we need a better left-back, 100%. So it's just one of them things that they're playing Strouk out of his position. So he didn't need to do that. That was his fault, and I think he took the brunt from it. And then after that, his head was down, and Firpo should have come on a lot sooner, in my opinion, because after that he couldn't get back into the game at all. He was just constantly off it, and you would do it. I mean, they're human at the end of the day. If you know that you've just caused you to concede, you're gonna be disappointed. But then in my head, I'm sat there going, "You're 14 minutes in, mate. There's a lot of game left to play." You know what I mean? You get the likes of like Man United or Man City or Tottenham and that. They concede in the first like 15 minutes. They're not like, oh well, we've lost this, have we? No, they're just like.
We were last season.
Well, yeah, but you know what I'm getting at. Pep's never that.
No,
I mean, City have been bloody 3-0 down, and you sit there and go, they're going to win this. They're going to win this now. That's the mentality you have to have, and that's what mentality I want the guys to go in. Nobody expects Leeds to get a point against you these next 2 games with how well you've been playing so far. So you've got nothing. So you've got nothing to lose. Just go at them.
On that note, because I don't want to I want to quickly stop you there. Because on that note, do you think there's going to be this new manager bounce? So obviously we saw Sean Everton the other day get the win against Arsenal, and everyone's talking about the new manager bounce. My first initial thing when I heard Jesse Marsh was sacked was, oh no, here we go. They're going to get someone. Or even the assistant. Villa with Unai Emery came, and I think we went to, I don't know if it was at their place, but we just couldn't. Oh, it was ridiculous. But do you see that happening with this caretaker manager? Do you think there's going to be a bounce, or what are your thoughts on that? Because I've seen a few people comment on that as well.
I'll give you my complete honest sort of statistical reason. Everything that seems to happen to other teams never happens to Leeds. So So,
love that. I
so
love that.
my passionate side comes out and says, "Fuck no, I don't think that's going to happen at all." However, looking at positives and actually really analysing the situation, he was at Man United for a good while, so he knows how they play. So maybe it is beneficial that at least we've got him for these next couple of games. Do I think that we're going to get anything out of it under him? No. I'm just It depends on the manager. I think that's just literally it. I don't think that you could just stick anybody in and it's like they're going to go on a massive win streak. It's what the manager does with the team, obviously. So if we manage to get someone like Corbyn I don't think we're necessarily going to, we're going to go on a 13-game win streak. But I reckon he'd be good enough to at least, within the next 10 games, with, say, 5 or 6 games left to play, I think he's got the quality for us, with 5 or 6 games left to play, to go, even if we lose every game now, we cannot get relegated. That's what I want. But it's all down to the manager, to the coach. It's who you get in. But, the superstition side comes in me as well. Last time we lost to Forest, we went on a 15-game unbeaten streak. So I know it was in a champ. So that might pull over. I don't know. You get my honest answer, and then you get my. But I still love Leeds. I want them to do well. So my ideal situation is this guy knows how to play against Man United, and we're going to run you over 2 games in a row. Is that going to happen? Probably not. But you can always dream, can't you? At the end of the day,
you never know. It's football. Anything can happen.
And that's the thing. And it's like I always strike myself as a realist. There's part of me that goes, yeah, get this done, and I really want to do this. But then part of me calms myself down and goes, but just prepare yourself that that's not going to happen. So it's kind of like I build myself up, and then the other little me on my shoulder just goes, just bring it down a bit, mate, and then you won't be as disappointed.
Yeah, there's been optimistic, and then also
there's been optimistic and unrealistic. They're 2 completely different things. My optimistic side is, I think personally, the most we can get out of you these next 2 games would be probably a loss at yours and a draw at ours. And if that was to happen, I'd be happy with that. That's the realism side. My optimistic side is that we get a point at yours and we get 3 at ours. So there's my honest answer for the next 2 games.
Wow, okay. So I'm just having a quick look here as well. I've had a look, as you can see on the screen now. Fabrizio has, I don't even know why this came up, but Fabrizio has ruled out Marco Bielsa's return to Leeds as very unlikely.
Good.
So I thought I'd share that with you. I saw that.
The guy always gave me anxiety because he never actually sat on a seat.
Oh yeah, he was.
I don't know if you get what I'm saying, but he was always
He's just perched, yeah.
Always squatting, and it's like my knees hurt for him.
Yeah. No, I think obviously what happened with Bielsa needed to happen. The way it happened, I thought was completely disrespectful. Because you sit there and think Jesse Marsh has had a far, far worse run of games with a better team and a fully fit team against lower sort of down the table teams than Bielsa got sacked after playing Man United, Man City, Arsenal, Chelsea and Liverpool.
Did he also get you promoted though as well?
And without him, yeah, we'd still be in Championship without Bielsa.
That's it then, isn't it?
I'll always hold my hands up to that.
Similar with Leicester, wasn't it? Leicester won the league.
Bielsa.
I can't remember his name.
Bielsa's amazing at taking a team, improving the players that he's got, and then handing it over to somebody else. The problem is that it was handed over to Jesse Marsh. Now, don't get me wrong, the board has clearly backed him massively with, he's got in who he wants to get in. The 49ers have obviously clearly helped that out as well, which is great. Having the 49ers there as a partner. What I'm happy with, though, and again, looking at these positives, is that everybody was like, oh, well, the 49ers wanted Jesse. I'm like, no, they didn't. Radrick Zani wanted Jesse Marsh, and Victor Orta wanted Jesse Marsh. They've been talking for years. The 49ers don't care if they've got an American manager. The way the Americans run business is it's a business. You need to win to make money, and that's all Americans care about, is making money. That's why the 49ers are the richest sports team on the planet in any sport. So
I've seen a lot of the I mean, it's quite cruel, but I've seen a lot of the Ted Lasso memes as well. If you've not seen Ted Lasso, make sure you check it
It's
out.
quality.
It's the
And it
best thing
is.
I've seen.
It's complete. And do you know what? The more and more the season progressed, I was like, come on, don't be calling him Ted Lasso. That's not very fair. And then he's just like, all we've got to do is believe. And I'm like, Jesse, you're not helping yourself, mate. I'm rooting for your ear, pal. And then he's like, you know, I've told the players to watch the Redeem story on Netflix, and I'm like, and you fucking lost me. I'm off. So I was like, I'm done. I was like, how can you be taken seriously? You think Pep Guardiola sat there going, okay, you lost. What I want you to go and do is watch that Chicago Bulls documentary because they lost and then they got really good. No, you go, why are you playing like shit? Get on the trading pitch and let's run it again. Not sit down and have a Netflix and chill. Yeah, exactly. And it's a completely different sport. I'm not being funny, you know, there's never been a basketball game where one team's won and the other team hasn't scored a basket. You know what I'm saying? It's like comparing apples to oranges, and and I'm not saying it's an American thing in general, but Jesus, I was like, he hasn't painted Americans in a great light whatsoever when it comes to football. You know,
I must admit that did make me laugh. The Ted Lasso thing was like, I saw that and I was like, oh my gosh, that's harsh. But after hearing the anecdotes
true.
that you've got there, it sounds true.
The thing is, go on, mate.
Go on, sorry.
I was just going to say, the thing is at the end of the day, you've just got to start being realistic. And as much as you want to support someone, there gets to a certain point where you just go, we cannot have this anymore. 16 years it took us to get back up. And the board have clearly shown with the transfer windows and actually getting players in and stuff that they do want us to stay up. And now with the sacking of Jesse Marsh, I've kind of restored a bit more faith in the board that they've gone, right, we don't care who runs it, just run it to the point where we don't have to worry about relegation. I would rather be in the Championship than every season have to worry about relegation. I know it's probably a bold take, and
yeah, but Championship's more exciting. You get to probably see.
Oh, it's the best football we've ever played. Apart from the first season when we came up, that was quality. We conceded a lot of goals, but Jesus, we played so well.
Yeah, I remember watching that game against Liverpool. That was an unreal game.
First, Liverpool off the back of winning the Premier League. Leeds is a newly promoted side. Liverpool score, Leeds bang, draw it up. And even Virgil van Dijk was just looking, like going, they've just got promoted. Why are we like struggling? And then obviously Liverpool have a crappy season that season. So what was it, like the worst season? It was the worst title defence, wasn't it? It went down as the worst after a Premier League win. It went down as the worst title defence season in Premier League history.
Oh wow!
Yeah,
insane. Right, just wrap this up then, guys. I want to get your score predictions. Josh, home and away. Give me the score lines.
Away, I'm going to say... Do you know what? I'm going to be positive. Away, I'm going to say 2-2. Home, I'm going to say 2-1 Leeds. Why not?
Wow. You're going out there.
Why not? If I'm wrong, everyone's going to be like, oh, you're wrong. I'm like, yeah, I realise that. I've seen the score. But at the end of the day...
If you're right, you're going to be like, oh, I wish I put a bet on that.
But if I'm right and you get us on the podcast again, you'll literally just... I'll pop up and I'll just be like...
You're very welcome. If that is the scoreline, we will have you back.
But you know that I'm not the type of person to come on and just be like, whoa! I'll just be like, quality game. I couldn't have asked for anything more. So, yeah, I'm going to put the positive vibes out of there. 2-2 at yours, 2-1 Leeds at ours.
Tom?
I'm going to go 3-0 at home, 1-0 away.
Yeah, I think 3-0 at home, 2-1. 2-1 away. I'm just going to read out a couple of comments as well.
I just can't see Leeds scoring against us.
I just think our defence is solid, man. But I don't know. I think they could maybe scrap. I think they'd get the first goal at Ellen Road and then capitulate once we get going. But first game will end 4-0 to United. I assume Manchester United. And the second will be 2-0 to Manchester United. Josh, come back to this comment later. And I see, Tom, you've pinned that comment as well to this video.
Oh, yeah, then Phil, it can come back.
There you go. Then when you come back, you can see if that's right.
Oh,
Phil's put Manchester United home 2-0 and away Manchester United 2-1 slog. I can see that one happening. I think it's going to be a difficult game at the.
I think if you've
Ellen
got
Road.
realistically,
Alan Road always makes for an exciting game.
yeah,
so-
if we've got any if you've got any chance of points, it's at home.
Yeah, as is put here, be a United fan, Josh. You will grow more. Leeds anyway will keep you in the Championship down the line.
I mean, technically speaking, he is a United fan.
He is a United fan, yeah.
I am
Remember
a
this,
United
Leeds
fan. Our club's older than yours, remember?
Well, there you go. And then Pete's United point of view has put 3-1 to Manchester United at home and 3-0 away. Unless he means that the other way around, I don't know. But he reckons you'll get a goal at home as he's written it. So
I think they're all quite modest. I appreciate that from the shoestring viewers there. Instead of coming back going, it's going to be 7-0 and then 9-1.
we don't score goals.
To be fair, the people that comment on ours and watch ours are quite honest people anyway.
They're nice, man. Straight down the line, pretty like we love them. But
I think
Yeah,
regardless,
that's it.
it's going to be entertaining.
oh yeah, that's the
Simple
most
as.
important thing.
Asif said you need Eric Ten Hag to beat Eric Ten Hag.
I love that comment.
I think we'd probably actually at this moment be better with the guy with Jason Bateman who plays not Jason Bateman, what's his face, who actually plays Ted Lasso. Just get him in.
Jason Sudeikis.
Yeah, that's him. Yeah. Just get him in. Screw it.
No, brilliant. Well, thank you so much for joining us, Josh.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you to everyone that's watched, to Pete, to Asif, and to Phil. Big up to all of you. Hope you all have a good evening. And yeah, thank you so much, Josh. And
Yeah, thank you very much as well. And cheers for everybody on the Leeds Lounge. This will go up for a video afterwards as well. And good luck for Wednesday and good luck for Sunday. I'm so happy that I'm going to the game on Sunday regardless of the result, because just being at Ellen Road is just immense.
Are you doing a vlog?
I'll do a vlog for the game, yeah, definitely.
Yeah, definitely check that out.
Yeah, we'll
As
do that
well,
one.
guys, on our end, we've left a link to the Leeds Lounge YouTube page. Go over there, drop a like on this video over on their page as well.
I appreciate it. It's very doubtful. Same goes for them as well.
Every single person watching now, go over, subscribe.
Just go over and drop a like and sub, and also make sure you check out that Leeds Reunited vlog. I'm
Yeah.
sure you'll all enjoy that.
That will probably be up after editing on the Monday.
Amazing.
Sweet.
Amazing.
Right.
Emotional.
It's been